see the ball, hit the ball.
Oh, heaved into the leg side.
Welcome to the FourPlay Cricket Podcast.
Remember the name. History for the West Indies.
With your boys, Commie and Clinkett.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. The FourPlay Podcast. Good morning, I'm Commie and Clinkett.
And I'm Commie, and we're here at FourPlay, like Clinkett said, coming to you to talk about some cricket. Some good cricket. Saw you out with some of the guys last night. This might be a little sticky for you, mate.
I don't think so, but we'll see how it goes. Today what we can do is we can be taking a review of the West Indies England tour that would have just happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
You got some pretty hot topics that came out of that. The guys' performances, how the team went, but we can get onto all of that today. Where do we start?
We're going to start with the first test then, Akeem Clinkett. What's your take on the first test? How the guys perform on the first test?
Let me say this. It started out pretty good. Obviously, the guys would have flew out early. They had a good preparation going into the first test. So they have cricket for a little while. Everyone was in quarantine, so everybody was raring to go with the first test and to get back to playing cricket. We traveled with 25 guys, so I guess it was good for the guys to be able to get into proper practice games where you would see the guys. Obviously, a guy like Shannon wasn't in the original squad, but
he was injured at first.
Yeah, but being able to get into 2 games and show that he was ready to come back into the test team. So going into the first test, I was very confident that West Indies would have done really well, which they showed the first morning. Well, they didn't get much test cricket. We see how Shannon had looked the first morning, fit, ready to go, and bowling fairly fast, bowling good lines.
I see you address Shannon and the guys bowling and stuff like that. But to me, going into the first test, batting wise, our main batters, they looked a little bit short of runs in those practice games.
The funny thing about it with the batters, though, I wasn't too worried about the batters because from the last test series in England in 2017 or 2018, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 2017. We had guys like Craig and Shea, they would have done well. So I wasn't too worried about the guys going into the batters especially. And then our order was speaking for itself in the last 2 years. So the batting was good. It was more, I was really confident in the bowling, but I wasn't too sure how Shannon would have come back. And then we would have had someone new like Shamar Holder who would have never played test cricket. So you had Rakeem Cornwall, big Rakeem Cornwall, he would have never played in the colder areas. So I was more worried on that front than the batting. But with that said, the guys, we want to toss and bowl. So we went in with straight off the bat. And then as all the analysts were saying, in the last couple of years, West Indies were arguably one of the better bowling sides in test cricket. So that going into the first test, I was really confident, really feeling confident the way West Indies would have gone forward in this test series.
Well, the guys actually performed to how you said in the first test. Like you said, winning the toss, bowling first, coming out sharp as ever. Shannon bowled well.
Jason was obviously the standout performer.
Yeah, Kimar bowled well, but he didn't get any wickets. But it's a partnership. Bowling
that was
is
the
a
take
partnership.
I was going to say. No, I think a lot of people didn't really understand the importance of Kimar's role in that first innings, especially. Like the bowlers really bowled well in partnership. So, let me pull a stat so that we could get it correct.
I think Jason took 6 in the first,
took 6 in the first, but I want
5 in the first. 5 in the first.
I want to get Kimar's
bowling stats.
Definitely.
But Jason took 5 in the first.
6,
I know.
he took 6.
Shannon took 3 or 4. So the guys are look sharp. So one person was taking, 2 people taking the wickets. The other guy at the end just bowling tight, keeping England in their grooves. But then when it came to the batting, I saw we got a bit of starts and stuff like that there, but the guys didn't carry on. We were able to pile on a good set of runs to put England under pressure.
Yep.
But I want to see guys scoring hundreds. That's my thing. I want to see guys scoring hundreds. And early up in the series, I want to see guys scoring hundreds. Not in the back end, but I want to see guys scoring hundreds early up.
Just trying to find that first scorecard so we could go. But
Yeah.
What you're saying is correct. Hundreds are line up at the beginning. All right, so as I said, the first innings, you would see England being bowled out for 204. You were talking about Kimar. Kimar bowled 19 overs, 6 millions, 41 runs with the economy at 2.15. Shannon Den, on the other hand.
Tight.
Exactly. Shannon Den was able to be expressive with 15.3.
More aggressive character.
4 for 62. Economy rate of 4, but Jason 20 overs, 42, 6 wickets and 6 maidens. So it worked well in partnerships. Alzari was a little more expensive. Well, Shannon was expensive, but in the end, it only took 4 bowlers to get England out in 67.3 overs. I would say that's pretty. As a coach and as a supporter,
Pretty impressive.
I would take that any day.
Playing a 4-pound that doesn't usually play together. These
Yes.
guys haven't really played much together. We know this, so it was straight off.
I would
the
say
bat.
they didn't really play well together the
No,
last
not
couple
well.
of years.
They don't play usually together. Last couple of years, Alzari would have been injured.
Yeah,
Shannon
true.
would have been injured. So
True.
these guys don't usually play a 4-pound pace attack like that.
Well, it
was
worked
big-
last
it
time
was
against
big bang.
it worked
Yeah.
well against England last time. So that was really. But moving on to the batting, as you said, we would see a lot of starts for certain. You would see Craig again in 65, which was really good because obviously coming out to first class cricket in his last couple of years in Test cricket, he didn't really have the best.
Yeah, struggling,
Yeah,
losing
struggling a
his
bit.
contract. Bit of controversy there. See lost his back sponsor and
Yeah,
stuff like
a lot
that.
on lot of his
He would have
mind.
been a little bit low on confidence. So coming up first up and getting 65 odd runs would have do a little bit for his confidence.
You see John Campbell getting 28 and coming a lot there. We don't want to go too far ahead about the series, but coming into the series, I heard a lot of people were talking about John Campbell, but I was really confident with John Campbell because he averaged 40 before the Test series. And before I remember we were sitting, we were talking about the battles that can go up. So we were talking about Joffre versus Shea, and he was like, but we got to watch John Campbell because John is the man
That can take it to him.
he ain't got back down. He can play shots. And there were a couple of videos coming out the practice games, and you see Alzari, all the fast bowlers were born at John, and John wasn't backing down. So
he got a bit of bang, and then the next ball he hit it in the stand.
right,
So,
exactly. So, but Shea 16, Shamar 39, Roston 47.
A lot of starts.
Dow 61. So you see that there were a lot of starts there, but no one really put their head down and really back. I don't want to go too far, but if you can look at the first test West Indies played and then how Pakistan are playing now, Malik Shan Musu, who really applied himself, we could really say the same. Craig and Shan Musu would have been basically on the same way. We got Shea and we would line them up against Malik Babar Azam and that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't say it was too bad. 318 the first time out. It was good. We had a proper lead going into the second innings. The second innings, obviously, you would have seen the guys come together a little more in terms of England. We would have scored 313. But in the end, the man that we were talking about, Shannon was the man again. 5 for 75 off of 21.2 overs. Once again, Kimar not getting any wickets in the game.
But still being economical, sorry.
I wonder if that was playing on his mind because he was 9 wickets away from 200. That was a big feat. First time back out, you know he was bowling proper lanes, but he just wasn't getting that wicket. 22 overs, 8 maidens, 50 runs, economy at 2.27. Right?
But still pulling on that pressure.
Exactly, still putting on the pressure. So West Indies were able to really put themselves in a good position.
Restricting you guys to 300
Yeah,
and something.
they only need 200 to win. Need 200 to win on a fourth. And their 5 pitch. It might have seemed a little difficult, but I can't remember the last time West Indies chasing 200 or less on the last day and they're losing. So I was really confident going into that, but the problem with that is going into that last day and that last innings, I really was expecting Craig to be the man. I knew England were going to come out guns blazing. I knew their bowling was ready and ready to go. we had Craig. I was expecting Craig to be the solid man. We all look at it, and the way I was analyzing it, the new ball was doing the most on the wicket, and the new ball was getting the swing that was needed. I said if Craig and John could bat at least 15 overs, because I couldn't see West Indies taking 80 overs to score 200 runs. So the whole I was looking at it is once we could get past that new ball, we were definitely in the game. Craig went early.
Yeah, we saw that.
John was retired her early. Shea not getting in again 9. Then Brooksy,
So
LBW.
We were
up against the
We
one.
were seeing that continuous trend that we always see
With
of
the-
the top order,
top order.
and then the middle order, the middle to lower order having to then bail out West Indies with the man himself coming back from a long stint away. I know he would have had the the one innings where he had to replace Darren Bravo, but the man, Jermaine Blackwood,
If I'm being honest with you,
coming to the fore.
after those 3 wickets, I didn't even contemplate turning off my TV because it was like not again. I was like not again.
Heartbreak.
I was, but once again, just before the series, I remember I had a conversation at a bar or something. And they say Russell Chase is probably going to be the most important player for West Indies in this series and probably moving forward in not only in Test cricket but one-day cricket, because his skill set is good enough to get the job done.
As a bowler or a batsman.
Exactly, he could fit in. I don't want to compare him because I'm not going to compare him. I don't want to say Moeen Ali, but we see the importance of Moeen Ali as a spinner inside England's side for a couple of years.
Or even Ravichandra Ashwin.
Even, yes, exactly. Where you have proper bowlers who could get you 5 wickets, but still someone who could score 50 or get you a Test century. And that was really important in West Indies, and I feel like it was missing for a little while. And him coming in the middle order, the way how he batted the first innings, I thought that with him batting, he looked a little. He was just having a net. I remember I said that Rosson, he having a net here, but it was what I took away from it was the confidence that he had to be that comfortable at the crease in England, especially. You went England obviously the last time with the team, but for him to come back and have that much confidence and patience at the crease, it was really good to see. And going into the second innings, he only scored 37, but the importance of that 37.
After losing a couple wickets, so
exactly.
then slowing down, taking off, the new ball shine. Bahrain, we saw that the ball didn't really do much in the middle.
Yeah, as we said, right.
Yeah.
So then you got Jermaine Blackwood who played out of this world innings.
Yeah.
But
The
out of
aggressive
character. We say out of character innings. Yeah. But especially for the first innings, when he got out.
Yeah.
Catch at mid-off, trying to play a shot that wasn't necessarily needed. But what I would say is a lot of people would criticize that shot. But I believe that someone needed to take it down best. I don't think. I don't think he's that good of an off spinner. To me,
we would say. I'm not going to speak on the Don Best.
I even knew you might not want to say it, but I can say I don't think he's that good of an off spinner.
Fair enough, but
he could get better, but not that good of an
what
off
I would
spinner.
speak on with the Jermaine Blackwood situation is that I don't think that it's a situation where we criticize him for being the aggressive character.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way he continues to get out. We see a character like Shimon Hertmar early up in the order, playing some loose shots and Austin being rattled. Came back, work on it. Now he's scoring one-day hundreds. Yeah? But still being able to know when and where to be aggressive. Blackwood coming back. We wanted to see him, he said he worked on it. He curved it a little bit. So we saw it in the second innings, but we wanted to see it in the first. He corrected his mistake in the first, took home the game for West Indies, and I was very proud of him.
He scored 700 runs. If I'm not sure, I'm not going to pull out the stats, but I'm pretty sure he had the most runs in the
first class
season, which it was needed. He scored a double in there, if I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So he showed application to score runs. People might say first class cricket may not be that good, but in the end, cricket is cricket. To show application to score double century, it's still got back. For him to be able to do that, And then come in the second innings and score an important 95. Again, the bowling, there was a period that Joffa was really running in. There was a period that Joffa really had the batsman on the back foot. He was bowling real feisty. He even had Dow in trouble.
I think he even put Jermaine on his back.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. So in a case where for him to bat through that and to be able to score 95,
sure, good character.
Not only good character, he saved his career. If
After that first innings,
the first innings, remember Michael Wode was talking about everybody tell me this man changed. They come to see, and this is how he got out. No, can't happen. People saying Jermaine is Jermaine, that's how he's played. No, this is Test cricket. That cannot be acceptable. For him to come and do that,
especially in England, the last time
against, and as much as people don't like to say it, England is our greatest opponent and enemy, and we know that. England's greatest enemy might be Australia, but England versus West Indies is always an iconic series.
Yeah.
So for him to score 95, and he didn't bring home the game, but 95 out of 200, we see the importance of the innings. Correct. For certain. But at the same point, you look at, I just want to touch on, no, let me go there yet. We can continue. Dow scored 20, right? But Dow got out twice in 2 balls.
He got a first ball in the second innings.
No, remember he scored 20
yes. Sorry,
he was a little difficult. It was a little difficult.
Stokes. Yes.
And batting the short ball, and
I remember that.
We were a little worried about that, but I didn't criticize Dow too much because as much as people were saying we're doing or whatever, we play cricket. Yeah. And everybody know going to innings and facing 80 plus short bowling coming at your body, it's dangerous. Yes, it's your job. Yes, you're paid for it. But at the same point, you got to be able to know that certain people have certain weaknesses, right? Once you be able to acknowledge those weaknesses, he scored 61 in the first innings. After a series before in England where he didn't score, I didn't think he got 60 runs.
Yeah, he was having.
So coming into this, I reckon that would have been back in his mind. But he was the best batsman for West Indies in the last couple of years. So it was had no problem. As I say, he scored 20, but once again, that 20 was very important.
Batting with Blackwood,
exactly,
very, very important.
Very important. And then obviously Jason kept bringing it home with 14 in the end. But Jason and Ben Stokes. We know coming into the series, everyone was saying the series, the battle for all-rounder, for the best all-rounder in Test cricket. Jason obviously taking off the lead with taking 6. Out him Ben Stokes in both innings. Ben Stokes being the captain in England, Jason being the West Indies captain. I'm pretty sure they play West Indies under 19 cricket together. In ICC under 19 cricket together as well. So coming up straight through the ranks and then playing for your respective countries and coming in knowing that you're 1 and 2. Do you think that would have played some part on Jason and Ben Stokes' mind going into the Test series?
I mean, I would say yes. Some would say no. I saw an interview with Jason where he kind of shrugged it off, saying, well, it's more of a team thing. He doesn't take personal accolades and try, but facts are facts. ICC rankings say that he's number 1, so he won't touch much on it. But what I would say is it would play on your mind. It would, but it would be a positive thing because you want to be the better man. You want to do the better things.
I was hoping that it would have played on his mind because not necessarily. Yes, it is about the West Indies team. The team is the bigger, really the bigger thing that you have, the bigger picture, obviously. But I think that both of them going against each other could have brought the best in them. It would have made for a good series, which it did in the end.
Correct.
Because we see how it started out. West Indies coming all the way over to be the first people basically to just reopen cricket, international cricket. For then you have the number 1 all-rounder versus the number 2 all-rounder. I thought it was a really good battling story to lead into the series. And then how it started out with Jason being taking first blood with our 6 wickets. I thought it was really good. I thought it made for an exciting series, which then led into the second test. 4 days later.
Yeah, we know how that went. Ben Stokes scoring a magnificent 170 something. It was aggressive. I liked it.
The thing about the second test though, like the first morning, going in, obviously outside was overcast. Rain would have fell all week. In England, it was in Manchester. Rain fell all week. So coming in, I was a bit skeptical because with the team selection, because I was trying to figure out which way West Indies would go. But you know what I mean. So as far as we're concerned, everyone says they should have changed the winning formula. But the reason I was skeptical about it is because our bowlers would have had in 40 overs in their legs, right? But only 4 days to recover. So recovery was obviously the most important part of that. England, on the other hand, their bowlers, they dropped all of their bowlers.
Yeah, remember
their bowling lineup changed completely. The only person that was probably supposed to be in is Joffre, and then we know the situation where he was left out because he stopped home for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So England coming in with a brand new attack. Sam Curran, Chris Wokes, shortboard, who was furious to be left out of the first test, which means he was coming in with blood in his eyes. We were a team unchanged, a team who was supposed to be unified. So I still thought the second test was still set up good for a good storyline. However, that first morning when we won the toss and bowl, that first morning with Shannon and I think Roston got the ball. I mean, the wicket was damp, but I think Roston got the ball in 13th over in England.
Yeah. I won't speak much on the bowlers being weary or whatever. In my case, I don't think that they were weary at all. I think that they would have had a couple overs under them, but being that they were able to dismiss England so quickly in the first test and do it relatively well, I don't think that they would have. Yes, they would have had a couple overs, but I don't think that would have had much of an effect on how they perform. They got a bit of chances from Ben Stokes, they didn't take them. We could speak on that. Don Sibley, he just did what he did. Hard character to get. I can't speak on him.
If I'm being honest, going into the second test that first morning when they saw Shannon bowl, it means Shannon he did that spin that get into the wicket a little faster than you thought it was. Or it was Jason. I can't honestly pinpoint who at this present moment, but that first morning our bowlers looked weary in my eyes, and I don't blame them because, as I said, bowling 40 overs in over 5 days, and then you only got 4 days to recover, where you still have to practice and bowl again. I thought it would have been a little difficult. England were obviously had the advantage because they were able to switch out their entire bowling lineup to a fresh bowling lineup who would have had legs to come in, and it wasn't a case where they were switching out a bowling lineup to say they were playing second string guys. You had guys like Chris Wokes, who is a proper bowler in England, short ball, who had over 400 wickets, 485 or something coming into the series, and then you have man like Sam Curran, who swings the ball in England. So,
but what I would say
and
is
still
that,
Ben Stokes.
But what I would say is that, to me, I don't think that the English bowlers won that second test. I would not say that. I would go in to speak on how we lost a session. We lost one session. In my eyes, in my point of view, we lost one session.
England scored 469 for 9 declared in the first innings.
Okay, that's fine.
Right? Mm-hmm. No. If we didn't have 5 good days of cricket, they would have had a rain interval. One, they would have been completely washed out. Right? No, this is what he said. He said that session that you're speaking about was the evening of the third or fourth day, where all West Indies had to do. I can pull it up for you so you can see.
I think we needed about 270 yards to avoid the follow on, and we were doing well.
Brooks and Roston were batting. Brooks scored 68. Roston scored 51.
Correct.
Right? Both of them were batting. They were having a good partnership. And I remember stating once West Indies could bat out this evening, this game finished. It was the fourth day. Was it the fourth day?
It was the third.
Third day, right. And I said once West Indies could bat out this innings, it'd be good because we would have already passed the follow on, right? And coming back tomorrow, even if we get an hour, it would take too much for England to have to score. And
that's what I'm saying to you. I think that's where we lost the game. One session, one bad session, and that's we know the harshness of cricket. That's all you need. One bad session.
You would have looked after Blackwood 0, Dowd 0.
Yeah, the heavy lower
Jason-
order that we would have
Jason too.
depended on in the
They
first.
didn't give us anything.
They didn't give us, but that's the thing. West Indies, we usually, we being very real, we depend heavily on our lower order, and that's where it goes back to something I said earlier in this podcast. West Indians need to the top order. They need to learn to score hundreds.
Yeah, we were
I
saying,
don't see it. I don't see it much. Damn, the top order. We look at how much. If you pull up the stats from these guys, me and these guys are very, very good people, but they need to score hundreds, and they need to score hundreds early up in the series. I don't like when you're 2-love down, series loss, and then it becomes personal.
I mean, as I said, we would have talked about Craig before. We would have said Craig and 75 in our first innings again, but with 67 and 75, we really need him to carry on.
I need to score 100.
We really need him to carry on.
Drawing reference to the same Pakistan game that is currently happening. Look at Shah Masood.
Yeah, we scored 0 in the first second inning.
He scored 0 in the second innings, but
that
somebody else.
150 was
He
very,
scored 150 odd
Yeah,
out
that was
of
very
300 and something, 320 something.
That would have been
You understand?
very important
He
for
scored
them.
about 40 something, nearly 50% of Pakistan's run.
They would have
So
been
you need a man to stand up there and bat and score 100. If you have a man that scores 100, and the other team, the other players, they come together and give you 150 of. You have a man that's 240 runs, that's 250 runs. West Indies struggle. We always struggle to get 300. We always depend on our lower order to get 300 runs, to take us to that 300 mark. And I honestly believed that if we had somebody in our top order that had carried on to score 100, we would not be in this situation. We maybe, without that loss of day, we could have pushed on to challenge England in that second test. I stand firm on that.
I had the game to draw. I really wanted the game to draw so that going up, because regardless of whether if the game had drawn,
We would have kept
trophy,
it.
The Raisin Trophy would come back home with us. And
Yeah.
I did not even know that would have been the last thing that we would play for the Vincent Trophy.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, this series had, when I heard about the Vincent Trophy, this being the last Vincent Trophy, I don't know. This series had a level of significance towards it, and that I did not know about going into that. Like, pride of the Vincent Trophy, like the kind of players that would have passed through this series, and you knowing that as a nation that you are the person that will always have this on your cupboard. Or,
I like I said, I won't go into that. I just want to speak on the fact that we lost that session, and I'm going to stick heavily on that session. We were about 190 something off for 4.
But did we only lose that session?
I believe that is the session that lost us that game. If you look at it, Clinkett,
Ben scored 70 off of 57.
and that's fine. A very, very good innings. So we back bad in the last innings, fine. But I believe that session is the session that set up West Indies to lose that game. We could have drawn the game, but I'm speaking from a point of view of being aggressive and actually having a chance to take it to England, to secure the Wisden Trophy, like you said. The pride that the Wisden Trophy is. Being 190 something, I remember tuning in. I was in a meeting at work. The guys were speaking, saying, "Oh yeah, well, Shamar is going well. He's looking very confident." I said, "Okay, fine." I passed by a couple places, checking. When I checked, I saw the guys were 200 and something odd for 8. I think it was 260 odd for 8. And I was shocked. So here we are, depending on that same lower order. And I don't think that we should heavily criticize that lower order for that slump.
For certain not, because they did a lot in
the past. But
same point. I mean, every day in cricket isn't going to be good there. As the saying goes, every day in fishing there. Every day might be fishing there, but every day in catching there. But the same way we needed somebody, we needed some person to just get us to the end of play that day. You just needed to get to the end and play that day, and the game would have been completely different. We needed to suck time out of that game, that second test. So we lose the game. We didn't bat good in the second innings as well.
Yeah, we didn't bat well at
Didn't
all.
bat well in the second innings.
The top order.
We went down. Brooksy again.
Brooksy standing up again.
Brooksy again. Getting runs. That would have been. So he scored 68. Second inning, 62. And we feel good for Brooksy, but in the end, 62, 68. Nobody put it in their hands to score the century that we need.
I need that 100.
It looks good, but it's just another start.
I need that 100.
And
really,
you know
really
how the
need
old
it.
saying goes, the boy can remember 49, the boy can remember 62, people can remember hundreds.
Hundreds.
You're a batsman, you get
need
paid to
hundreds.
score hundreds.
So going into that third test,
But Blackwood again, 55.
correct, Blackwood, he stood up.
Again, once
But I
again.
still need that 100. I would always speak on I need that 100, and I don't need it in the back end. I need it early up. I want it early up. Second inning is fine, but I need it early. That's how we will win games. I need the batters to put.
The first innings as you said, that one session is what put us down, and we didn't do well containing Ben Stokes in England in that second innings. Once again, as you said, the bowlers had a lot in their legs. We tried, but we didn't get it. So
There were a couple of things I believe that we could have tried differently. Couple of the guys would have played one-day cricket. That was basically a one-day innings.
yeah, and people score 400 in 1 day zone.
Fair enough. But I believe that, yes, the great batter that Ben Stokes is, we could have found a way to contain him. I believe that we are
But
good enough.
he did get a chance. We must say that. But
Correct.
in the end, as you said, England were just a better team in that. What were the hungrier team in that second? In that
They
second
needed.
test.
They had to
They
win.
needed
If
to
they
win.
needed,
Right. It
if they
came down
wanted
to the last day, and they really showed that they were the team that wanted it more, and that's we were against the wall and we didn't be in the corner. If it was boxing, using the boxing analogy, we just couldn't get off the ropes. That is the best way to put it. But with that said, 1-1.
1-1 sets up a thriller.
Perfect for the good for cricket, good for supporters. Not good for a team, but good for supporters going into that last test.
And obviously,
direct battle.
England would have been the favourites to win that last test going in after winning the second test the way they did.
And then
Morale high.
You have James Anderson
having back
coming
James, having back a fresh Joffa that who is ready to prove critics wrong. I remember being on Twitter and
the Tino
Joffa
drama
feud.
Yeah, ready to come
that
back.
would obviously world up Joffa. So
Yeah.
he came back. He was hungry. I saw the hunger. And West Indies, we decided to ball it again.
Did we go wrong from the first day? The selection, the selection, and maybe the choice at the toss. Because we played two spinners and we were criticized. I heard Nasu saying having a comment on it in this first. That's what gets Pakistan. He was saying that West Indies played two spinners and then decided to decide to bowl on the first day.
So you're taking the analogy of the fourth innings.
Not the fourth innings,
but
the third test, the first innings. We Jason wanted to toss again and decided to bowl. Should we have choice and different? And
I don't believe that
first,
because
1, 2. While we talk about the selection, we played Shea again,
and that would have been heavily spoken about throughout the whole series. Obviously, we know Shea has been doing well in the one-day format, but in the red ball format, the test format, where it's totally different. He only has 2 centuries, which came in the same game.
Yeah, the same game.
Where they had. So maybe
in England though, but
I remember before the third test, the coach Phil Simmons actually speaking out, saying that he has to address the situation that Shea's in because he's a bit worried. So here we are. Shea is picked again over.
Do you think that he should have been picked for the third test?
I being that he did what he did in England the last time, I think we needed somebody that knew how to do it?
And me personally, I thought he should have been picked.
You thought he should have been?
And no doubt.
I
You look on the bench, yes, you had a man like Nkrumah Bonner who would have done well in the first class arena, but there is no way that a man shows that sort of temperament to score hundreds in the one-day format. Well, it is different. International cricket is international cricket. I don't care what anyone tells me. If you show that kind of application to score runs in the one-day format, you can get it doing the test format.
Right.
We needed some.
Well, I won't go down to say that because I know that England, they've tried it with Jason Roy. It didn't click. Johnny Bairstow, he's been short of test runs recently. He has
but he scored runs in test cricket.
Yeah, but
in a case where he didn't. But what we are talking about, and we gotta remember this as well. When we look at nations, I don't always like to compare nations because we look at the West Indies and we have 6 territories, right? 6 territories of 15 players, right? That you can see maybe a year. Did we say 20? Did we go 20? Right? That's 80 players that you're liable to see a year, right? Compared to England, who have 20 counties, right? Who may have a squad of 30. You see the difference? I saw something on Twitter yesterday where a guy was saying where Pakistan is finding these fast bowlers from. Pakistan got a population of 212 million. So when we look at the West Indies who have six territories, you're liable to see 80 to 100 players a year, right? You have to pick the best of the best. Shea has proven, right, that he is one of the better players. And while we say that, we keep forgetting that Shemar Hetmar didn't go. Darren Bravo didn't go, right? And you got Nkrumah Bonner who never played a test game before. But this is one of the more important games of the series.
Having said that, having brought up that topic of Darren Bravo and Shemar not being there, had they been there, would Shea has still earned his selection?
Me personally, I think he would have still started. However, I would have honestly liked to see that dilemma, because I don't think he would have played all 3 tests for certain. I don't think he would have played all 3 tests, but I still think even if he didn't start it, he would have come in.
So that means that
I would have taken that headache. I would have taken that headache as a selector, as a coach, because we know that all of them could produce that.
Correct. We know the talent that Shemar is. We know what Darren Bravo can do.
Exactly. I would have taken that headache, but with that said, we didn't have that headache. So going into the last test, as much as people were criticizing, we saw after the series Phil talking about telling Jason stop picking his friends, but me personally,
to drop his friend. I remember that comment. It's a bit dirty.
I would have still picked Shea. The reason too that I would have picked Shea as well is he didn't have a good 2 years in test cricket, fine, but after this test series there wouldn't have been no cricket at all.
He was hungry,
and we've seen what he's done
in the one-day format.
In the one-day format, in the international circuit. Why not? We invested in this guy. We have been invested in this guy. Why can't we give him one more game to show us what he can do?
Back against the lane when he really need it most.
That could either bring out the character in the fella, or a fella could sink. I don't think he sunk, but he didn't give us what we wanted. We really needed him to come out in that first game.
Sunk, but a lot of people don't think that. A lot of people actually think that this might be his last in red ball cricket for a very long time. With Darren Bravo and Shemar Hetmar coming back, yes, he may be in the squad, but how does that go? But you have a fella like Nkrumah Bonner that's done well in the first class format. Should he lose his place in the squad?
The reason I think Shea should play some first class cricket, yes. Regardless of when he come back down to this level, I have no doubts that he can score runs. But I think he needs some time at the wicket.
In red ball cricket.
And yes, you're not playing against yourself, so we can't discuss that. But when you step down a level, the big ones, the good ones, just dominate when they step back down. Okay. So I expect him to come back down and dominate once again. His last first class game for Barbados, he scored 187 or 200 or double or something like that. So he had a good score, right? And one thing the argument say is We heard Carlos talk about it. And Carlos hit his 4 sixes, and people asked like, what changed after that? Carlos said straight off his bat. He was playing Test great. The basics that he was going through and the fundamentals of playing Test great helped him to be a good T20 star. We don't want Shea to back off and not getting out those fundamentals, the longer format, for then to sneak into the shorter format where we don't reap the dividends.
Where he's a crucial player in the one-day format.
Exactly.
He's
and
a crucial batter.
She's 26 now. So
yeah.
we want him to be ready going into the next World Cup and T20 World Cups and that kind of stuff. We want him to be around. So we need him to be able to play that longer format still. I believe that he'll be good. I believe that he'll come back down. He'll score runs to show that he's still, me personally, the best batsman in the West Indies. The best looking, you know that for certain.
Yes.
But in first class cricket, he has shown that he's a step above the rest. So I expect him to come back down and do well, but he didn't do well in that Test series. We really needed him to get some of that Test series. Maybe the pressure went against him. You don't know. But we can't debate the kind of worker that he is.
All right. So going back to the
third test,
The third test, we bowled first again.
369.
And to me, Hakeem, I don't know if you would agree. You would say, yeah, Raheem Cornwall and stuff like that. We lost a session again, a crucial session at that, to me. We had England back against the wall, Don Best and Stuart Broad in. And Stuart Broad came out swinging.
I called for Cornwall from his second test. When they saw Roslan bowl in the second test, and they saw what Roslan do, they said, no, boy.
Raheem could do it.
Raheem could he spin the ball at pace, he tall, get bumps. Cornwall get his man problems.
Yeah.
He come in that third test. Remember, he spin 2 at Rory Burns, and it was like corny and play. It just didn't give me what I want. That the life seeing Stuart Broad sucked life out of me when he scored that 62. We were against the wall. We were against the ropes. And between a rock and a hard place. We fight hard. Ollie Pope 91, Joss Butler 67. But there was a point that they were like 284 for 6, and it was like good. We were back into this.
Correct. I honestly thought that had we finished off the tail there and we would have been in for a good fight. Yeah, 50, 60 yard less. It would have been
300 on the first day after Ollie Pope in his 91 and Joss Butler Cody.
60. I would have taken
the 300.
I would have taken 300.
The 300 going in, I would have been comfortable knowing, well, you know what? Yes, we good. Our batsman can at least get us 250. And we keep forgetting one of the days are completely washed out.
Yeah.
So I was confident. Guns are blazing, but that's 62 from Stuart Broad. Oh my God.
Yeah, we would have spoken. I remember
that hurt me.
Seeing Phil Wallace speaking on the aggression of Jason as a captain.
I remember you saying
I would have brought back
for the first test you were saying it like
sheet them in bumpers. Exactly. They come up guns blazing. I listen. I've watched Australian cricketers sheet people in bumpers. The same English first and second test.
First test.
Sheet that one in bumpers. Sheet down in bumpers.
As soon as the tail coming.
Bring back your fast boy. Sheet them in bumpers. Put them on the back foot. Stuart Broad has had a problem with the shorter ball in Test cricket. They've seen it where he actually stand up on his stumps. Come on.
I don't know what happened.
Sheet him in bumpers. I know you believe in the Cornwall and stuff like that bowling to him. I need Shannon. Sheet him in bumpers. Shadazari had kept his spot.
Even talking about it still hurting me.
Yeah, that's
just Saturday life for me.
That's just the hardship of cricket. And I thought that after that session, Stuart Broad, his confidence level rose. England back against he had a good second test. Fine.
Shut out all the critics.
Correct. Shut out all the critics. Fine.
I want to come back to that when we finish. When we finish do this review, I actually want to talk about that Stuart Broad thing. Right? So we could get a take on that. But don't let me interrupt you when you talk about the third test right now.
Because I'm talking about short board and having scored 62 odd. England back against the wall, right? They needed him. He came through, guns blazing. I remember when he came on the field. He usually jumps. He jumps. He had looked hungrier, and he had looked confident.
6 for 31, and that's second innings as well.
Here you go.
That first innings, sorry.
Here you go. And he came out and he showed.
Once again, our batsmen failed us.
Top line failed us again.
It was good for Jason and Doug 46 and 37 to come through and give us.
Yeah, but again, I need the lower order.
The lower order giving us, which they're supposed to do.
Yes.
Any boy batting at 7 8 and averaging 35, 30, that brilliant in test grade. 46 and 37 again. But if we look at the top order, Craig 1, John Campbell 32, Shea 17, Brooks 4, Ralston 9, Blackwood 26. These are specialist batsmen.
Give me some of those numbers. I might play them in the lotto later. You never know, eh?
Sure, well,
in the Mega 6. I might come out lucky. You never know. But I needed
I'll stop
that
buying them a
100.
drink. You know what I mean?
I needed that 100. I remember.
Thank you for letting
I
me
remember before the series started, Ralston saying, and a couple of the other guys.
Yeah, I remember Ralston saying if you don't
If
get a
he
couple of
doesn't get
hundreds, he would have had a bad
would,
series.
He would have a bad
Yeah, he
series.
would have had a bad
And
series.
it showed. We needed 100.
Yeah, but
we
still
needed
the most
100.
important player in the West Indies right now.
Right.
Still the most
We
important.
needed 100.
Like,
We went 3 tests. No hundreds.
no,
Absolutely
none.
no
And then
hundreds.
we could consider a failure in the batting department. The batting coach, Floyd Refill, would have been a little disappointed.
He has to be.
He was a head coach before, but coming back as the batting coach, I think he would have been a little disappointed with the batsmen coming out of that series. Yes, Craig did get some starts, but
I need that.
did not get the 100 that we were looking for. Coming in the second innings, Roy Burns 90,
Legends don't have starts to finish, eh?
Don Sibley 56, Joe Root 68. Suck the life for us. I being honest with you, I refused to watch the last day of that series.
I was
I
watching
followed
it.
I followed the scorecard directly on Cricket Info, but I didn't know what to do. I did not know what to do.
I remember my dad telling me. I was telling my dad,
129.
I believe we can do it, and he said to me, "Is either West Indies win or lose because they can't bat the whole day.
Fifth day as well.
They can't." And I said, "Why?" I believe that we can at least draw.
And the rainfall.
And he said,
the rain
to me-
washed out the fourth day. That's the
He
bad
said
thing
to me,
about it.
Commie, you are a fan, and you're speaking from a fan's point of view. Be realistic. West Indies will not bat the whole day, and I felt very disappointed.
The fifth day they came back, and I remember that the rain have. Remember we washed out the fourth day. It was like, well, let wash out.
Correct. Let wash out.
Let wash out. And then we came back the fifth day, and the rain. There was an interval, and it was like, I can't get this rain to fall for 2 more hours. If we take 2 hours out of this day, confident in our batsmen because they at least get us the end. I was still confident in our batsmen to bat an entire day. If we didn't do it in the series, but
it shouldn't come down to this. It shouldn't come down to me. It shouldn't come down to me outside doing a rain dance. It should not come down to this. It should not come down
but
to
as
this.
I said, it was to bat one day. Not even one day. It was basically a day and a session. Right? I was still expecting the West Indies to be able to get through. But when Broad on,
He's on.
He did one of the most difficult batsmen. We saw
he doesn't have if he has 400 odd, 400 and something odd.
got 500 now.
500 now. He
500
doesn't
now.
have 500 wickets for nothing. He's on.
There was an interview with Jimmy, and Jimmy said he always admired how when Broad gets on, the balls that he bowls, it is like so good to watch. Like he could out batsmen in a session. He said that for him, he had to work his skill level, and he was always, I don't want to say jealous, he always admired it. But so then we look at coming into his second innings, 4 again, 10 in the game.
10 in the game.
10 in the game,
He
get
was
that 500.
on. He was on.
It got to be hurtful for Craig in a kind of way. 500, you're the 500 wicket.
All the time?
Jimmy Anderson, no, you're the 500 for strap. But I mean, Chris Wokes, who we talk about? And I remember I told
Played
you
a
from the
very,
second
very,
is
very crucial-
that same
crucial
second
part.
test I was telling you about. Not any person. England had the advantage. 5 for 50. England going with a 4-pound attack that would have been impressive in England and in Test cricket in the last couple of years. You got Jimmy Anderson and you got Bro who got over 500 wickets.
That's a selection headache that you would love to have.
Over 500 wickets. Then you come back to a guy like Chris Watts who's done fairly well as a backup bowler, a third choice. Then you got Joffa, who we saw last year breaking onto the scene extremely quick, explosive player, and playing against a West Indies side
that he would have
his home nation basically. The series was set up perfectly. It was a series that we wanted to watch, but we would have preferred as fans and
I would have preferred to come
all
on top
with the trophy. If I draw 1-1, and it would say this is beautiful cricket.
Correct.
Absolutely beautiful cricket. It was a gem of a test series. But with that said, there was something I wanted to come back to you with, the Stuart Broad.
This man, he still gives me nightmares, eh? He's a hell of a bloke.
I didn't rate him in the first game out of the Test cricket, no. I didn't rate him in the first game of the international cricket. I didn't like his action. I thought, he came through the ranks and he was given a blade because his father was Chris Broad, who played for England and that kind of stuff. But in the end, he did well. He has done well. 500 Test wickets, Scott. You had a brilliant career.
Correct.
However, moving forward, there are two things that we need to address here. And while we talk about this series review, you look at England, James Anderson, old. Stuart Broad, oldish. They ain't got 5 years in there. They ain't got 5 years no more. However, they have 500 wickets. How long should they be allowed to play? One, that's my question. Two, we heard from the first innings, the first test. My take on it was that England were trying to go in a different direction moving forward. Obviously, with the Ashes coming up in a year's time or 2 years' time. So they're trying to build new blood going into or build a new attack because Anderson and Broad can't play forever.
Correct. I remember they brought in Ollie Robinson
and Mark Wood and these guys, and they're looking got players that would have been okay, but it still ain't Broad and James Anderson quality. And you can't get Broad and James Anderson quality unless players play. So they were trying to move away from that. Were England wrong? Was England wrong for doing that?
I mean, you must have a balance between looking at the future and the now. I honestly believe that there's a strategic way in how you introduce younger blood. You can't just drop and just switch. You have a formula, like you said earlier. You shouldn't switch a winning formula. England's bowlers have been doing very, very well for England. Both have 500 plus. So if you, in my opinion, if you drop one, you can't drop both. And I think England. I might get a little bit of stick for that, but I'm gonna stay for it. I think England in the first test they dropped the wrong person out of the two. I thought that James Anderson, he's a legend. He has the most wickets for England as a bowler. I think that Stuart Broad is the better of the two right now. And I would stick by that. And I would fight for that. And I would argue for that.
Me personally, my take on it is I can cross our bridge when I get to it. The selectors, Jimmy and Stuart fit, got to play. When them decide that them done,
yeah, but
I gonna take that headache when I go across that bridge.
Yeah, but you've seen this situation with England all over the years. Kevin Peterson, Ian Bell.
We're with the batsmen. All right. If we want to use that example, we could use it Australia in the 2000s, right? All of them finished one time. Matthew Hayden, Justin Langer, Gilchrist, Pointing. In a period of years, then finished. However, these guys were aging. But at the point, this was the best test team in the world.
Yes, but okay. Well, you had if you draw the Australia analogy, you had those players retiring, but then you still had the young stars like Michael Clark.
But at the same point, but you have young stars. You have Joffre, right? We could talk about Sam Curran, who's not done bad. Chris.
But back against the wall.
Back against the wall.
Back against the wall.
Like going down with Short and Jimmy.
Exactly. Back against the wall. Do you
No.
Joffre might be a great bowler and he might be doing well for England. Back against the wall. James, Stewart,
Listen to me.
Joffre, Chris.
You can argue this as much as you want. Once Jimmy and Stewart fit
available.
and they're available,
I just think that Jimmy's legs.
In sports, there's a point where you reach where you have a certain status. No one is bigger than the game. You understand? I will argue that. No one is bigger than the game. But there's a point where you have to reach where you have a level of respect. Right? If we gonna take everyone use another sport and we use Tom Brady has reached a certain point where he could choose where he want to play or what he want to do. He ain't bigger than a team, but he got legend status. He should have a say. Stuart Broad and Jimmy Anderson have earned the respect from England to be able to not do what they want to do, but to be able to know that when they're available, they should be, if them in the first, it should be Joe Root, Stuart Broad, James Anderson, then maybe Ben Stokes. Ben Stokes come forth. But once James Anderson and Stuart Broad fit, these men got 500 test wickets. These men got 1,000 test wickets between two of them.
And I like I said,
as a dynasty,
we are speaking about going forward. If we're speaking about going forward and switching the formula and how you should switch it and taking out players, yes, you're trying to groom young Joffre. You're trying to groom Chris into the
if you're trying to groom them, then you should got the legends around him.
Yeah, and I that's fine.
If you still
want to play Mark Wood, Joffre, Chris.
If
so one of them cannot play.
If he had gone about it and we had said, well, you know what, we can play Stuart Broad and maybe James Anderson, but you know what, we're looking for a new way forward. So you know what, Stuart or James, we can probably use it as the first change, right? I could say, all right, maybe I can see what they're trying to do. But as I say, I can cross that bridge when you find it. One last tip before we go. Moving forward now, West Indies selection. We don't have test series anytime moving forward. The next thing probably give me first class cricket that we able to play for their cricket. But we could talk about how the series went and how the players would have matched up. John didn't have a good series. Shea didn't have a good series. You already talk about Shea, John.
I don't think any of the batsmen would have had a
good series. But moving forward, we would have seen John Hunter Silva on his tour. He got 100 in one of the games.
Shane Mosley
moving forward. But the good thing about it is the selectors don't have that headache to worry about moving forward as yet.
Yeah, Darren Bravo coming back.
As far as they consider everything on a clean slate right now, a fair play field, equal play field moving forward, going into this first class season. We don't know when it will be. It has not been announced as yet. But when that comes, all guns are blazing for each batsman to then prove themselves again.
Well, when that comes, we'll see how that goes. I have my take on that.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it because I know the bowlers looking for blood, and I know the batsmen looking for runs. So I expect it to be. There may not be that much games. We don't know how they're going to do it this year, but we know first class cricket is likely to play. And when it does play, that is a season that I'm looking forward to because all the players may be available. We don't have any international cricket coming up, so we know that all the players will be available to play. And that is a series that I'm looking forward to.
And what I'll tell you about this here, being available to play does not mean that they will play. We saw that Chemo Paul, that Darren Bravo, that
I don't know, but if players,
so we will see.
They will be available, and if they're available, then we should be good. Anyways, I think that's we covered the series. We covered some pretty good topics. A good way to start out. Because I know on this was FourPlay podcast from Be Social Podcast. I'm Commie Clinkett,
And I'm Commie Charles.
and we sign out today.
All right,
Bye.
guys. Bye-bye.